I was the grateful nanny at their baby shower, so I waited until the gift opening to play the nanny cam footage of them calling me replaceable. Some stories don't hit you all at once. They build slowly, in small moments you don't pay attention to at first. At the time, everything felt normal, even familiar. But looking back, I can see how each small decision led here. This is one of those stories that only makes sense once you hear it all. The invitation arrived in a blush pink envelope tied with silk ribbon, embossed with gold script. Celebrate Baby Harrington. I almost threw it in the recycling bin. Not out of bitterness, but because my hands still shook when I thought about the last time I'd seen that address. 27 Willow Lane, Greenwich. The house where I'd changed diapers at 3 a.m., soothed fevers, taught Lily to say Mama Claire, only to be escorted out by a security guard with a cardboard box of my belongings and no final paycheck. But curiosity and grief made me open it. Inside, a gilded card listing gifts from Bergdorf Goodman, Pottery Barn Kids, and Cash Preferred. At the bottom, in delicate cursive, special thanks to our village, including past caregivers who helped shape our family. They'd invited me as a joke or a power move. Maybe both. Because 3 months ago, I dared to ask for what I was owed. After 3 years of 60-hour weeks, cooking, cleaning, managing Lily's therapy appointments for mild speech delay, I'd finally asked about the overtime I'd never been paid. Daniel Harrington, hedge fund VP, had laughed. "You're part of the family, Claire. We don't pay family." Then his wife, Vanessa, a socialite who'd never changed a diaper in her life, added, "Besides, we gave you room and board. Be grateful." 2 days later, I was gone. No warning. No reference. Just a text. "We've decided to go in a different direction. Please collect your things tomorrow." I applied for unemployment. Denied, classified as an independent contractor. Filed a wage claim with the Connecticut Department of Labor. Still pending. Now they wanted me at their baby shower? To smile while they opened $500 strollers funded by the money they stole from me? I RSVP'd, yes. Not as a guest. As a reckoning? For weeks I prepared. Not with rage, with precision. I still had the smart baby monitor they'd given me for Lily's nursery, a gift they'd never deactivated. It recorded audio continuously, storing clips in the cloud for 30 days. I'd kept my login credentials just in case. And in that cloud archive, I found it. April 12th, 10:47 p.m. Vanessa's voice sharp with whine. "Honestly, I'm glad she's gone." She was getting attached. Like she thought Lily was hers. Daniel chuckling. "She cried when we said goodbye, pathetic." Honestly, replaceable. Vanessa, right? We'll get someone younger next time, someone who knows her place. I downloaded the clip. Clean. Unedited. Timestamped. I bought a simple navy dress from TJ Maxx, booked a bus ticket to Greenwich, and practiced smiling while my heart turned to steel. Because at their baby shower, during the gift opening, I wouldn't be the grateful nanny. I'd be the truth. The morning of the shower, Vanessa texted me, "Wear something modest. We don't need you drawing attention away from the mom-to-be." So I did, and tucked the audio file into a tiny speaker hidden in my tote bag. The Harrington estate glittered under string lights. White tents draped in peonies, guests sipping mimosas from crystal flutes. I arrived precisely at 11:45 a.m., 15 minutes early, just enough to observe without being observed. My navy dress was simple, my hair in a low ponytail, my only accessory a silver locket Lily had given me for Mother's Day. Vanessa spotted me immediately. She stood near the gift table, maternity dress clinging to her bump, diamond tennis bracelet flashing in the sun. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. "Well, look who decided to show up," she said, voice loud enough for nearby guests to hear. "Try not to cry today, it's bad luck for the baby." A few women tittered nervously. Daniel, holding court by the champagne fountain, barely glanced my way. I smiled sweetly. Wouldn't dream of it. I took my seat in the back where past staff belonged. Watched as Vanessa opened gifts. A $1,200 stroller, monogrammed cashmere blankets, a solid gold rattle. All funded by the $42,000 in unpaid wages they owed me. During the mimosa hour, I slipped into the powder room. In the mirror, I took a steadying breath. Then I opened my tote and pressed play on the tiny speaker, just once, to hear their voices again. Honestly replaceable. My throat tightened, but I didn't cry. Tears were for private moments. This was justice. Lunch passed in a blur of clinking silverware and forced laughter. Vanessa gave a speech about village love. Daniel toasted to new beginnings. Then the MC announced, "Time for gift opening! Everyone, gather round!" Guests clustered around the gift table, cameras ready. Smiles bright. I stood slowly. And as Vanessa reached for a pink Tiffany box, I pressed the button hidden in my tote. Their voices, clear, smug, unmistakable, filled the garden. Honestly, I'm glad she's gone. She was getting attached. Like she thought Lily was hers. She cried when we said goodbye. Pathetic. Honestly, replaceable. Silence, thick, suffocating. Vanessa froze, hand hovering over the gift. Her face went slack, then flushed crimson. What the hell was that? She shrieked, whirling toward me. I stepped forward, voice calm. That was you and Daniel calling me replaceable the night you fired me without paying a single cent of overtime. Gasps, confused murmurs. A woman dropped her phone. It shattered on the patio stones. Daniel lunged toward me, but 2 male guests intercepted him. Ma'am, are you all right? One asked. I'm fine, I said. But I'd like to report wage theft and emotional distress to the Connecticut Department of Labor. That's when the recording started circulating. Someone had captured it. Within minutes, replaceable Nanny trended locally. Vanessa's best friend, a local news anchor, quietly excused herself, phone already to her ear. I didn't stay to watch the fallout. I walked out of the Harrington estate with my head high, the cool Connecticut air sharp against my skin. Behind me, chaos erupted. Reporters gathered at the gate. Justice had begun, but it wasn't over. Back in my tiny apartment that night, my phone buzzed. Dozens of notifications. Most were news alerts. But one message stopped me cold. I was your replacement. They fired me after 6 weeks for asking too many questions. I have texts where Vanessa says, just like the last one, too entitled. Call me. Then another. I'm Lily's speech therapist. They stopped her sessions to save money after you left. She's regressed badly. And another. I'm Daniel's former assistant. He's done this to 5 nannies. I have payroll records. They'd all stayed silent out of fear or shame. But my recording had cracked the dam. By dawn, I had a group chat titled The Village. 8 women. Dozens of documents. Proof that the Harringtons didn't just steal from me, they preyed on caregivers for years. We formed a plan. File a class action wage claim, report child welfare concerns about Lily's regression, and go public with receipts. But Vanessa struck first. Her lawyer sent a cease and desist. Defamation. Emotional distress. Cease all statements or face $500K in damages. She posted on Instagram, heartbroken by false accusations from a disgruntled former employee. Our home is full of love. They were trying to paint me as unstable, greedy, a liar. So I did the one thing they never expected. I went public with receipts. On a new Instagram account, I posted scans of my original contract, no overtime clause, timesheets showing 60-plus hour weeks, bank statements proving no overtime pay, and the audio clip, clean, unedited, time-stamped. Caption: this is what grateful sounds like. Share if you've been called replaceable. Within hours, Believe Caregivers trended. A labor rights nonprofit offered pro bono help. And then Vanessa made her fatal mistake. She called me, voice shaking, "Drop this, Claire, or I'll tell everyone how you manipulated Lily into calling you mama." I didn't respond, but I recorded every word and added it to the file. 2 days later, the Connecticut Department of Labor raided the Harrington home, but not for wage theft. Child Protective Services came too, after Lily's therapist filed a report about her sudden regression. The raid happened on a Tuesday morning, just after Lily's 3rd birthday. I was at the daycare where I now worked, wiping applesauce off a toddler's chin, when my phone buzzed with a local news alert. Greenwich Estate raided in wage theft and child welfare investigation. Attached photo, 2 unmarked cars parked outside 27 Willow Lane. Vanessa standing on the porch in silk pajamas, face pale, clutching her newborn while a CPS worker gently took Lily's hand. My breath caught. It wasn't just about unpaid overtime anymore. By noon, Sarah Lynn, the labor rights attorney who'd taken my case pro bono, called with details. CPS got involved after Lily's speech therapist filed an emergency report, she said, voice tight with controlled fury. Lily's regressed to single-word utterances. She hasn't said Mama Claire in months. I closed my eyes. The guilt hit like a physical blow. I'd loved that child like my own. Taught her to sign more and please. Read her Goodnight Moon every night for 2 years. And now, because the Harringtons cut corners to save money after firing me, she was losing her voice all over again. But the wage claim was expanding too. 3 more nannies had come forward. Women who'd worked for the Harringtons between 2018 and 2022. All classified as independent contractors. All denied overtime. All fired abruptly after asking questions. One, Maria Rodriguez, had been 6 months pregnant when they let her go without severance. We filed a class action complaint that afternoon. By evening, it made national news. Connecticut power couple accused of systemic caregiver exploitation. Daniel was suspended from his hedge fund. Vanessa's social media went dark. Then on Thursday, an envelope appeared under my apartment door. Thick cream paper, no return address. Inside, a check for $75,000 and a typed note. This settles all claims. Sign the attached NDA and disappear. For your sake and Lily's. No signature. But I recognized Vanessa's stationery from the baby shower invites. I didn't cash it, didn't sign it. Instead, I scanned both documents and posted them online with one caption. They offered me $75K to stay silent. Here's why I said no. The post went viral within hours. For Pay Your Nanny trended nationwide. Domestic worker unions shared it. Even Senator Gillibrand reposted it with, "This is why we need the Domestic Workers' Bill of Rights." Vanessa cracked. She called me that night, voice trembling with rage. "You stupid girl. Do you have any idea what you've done? Daniel's ruined. My family's humiliated." "I'm not the one who stole wages," I said calmly. "Or let Lily regress." "You'll never see her again," she screamed. "I'll make sure of it." I recorded every word, added it to the evidence file. But the real breakthrough came Friday morning. As I left the Connecticut Department of Labor office, where I'd just given a deposition, a woman in a gray blazer approached me on the sidewalk. She pressed a folded note into my hand and walked away without a word. Back in my car, I opened it. "Tell Vanessa her friend in HR says hello." The handwriting matched the forged timesheets Vanessa had submitted to deny my overtime. Timesheets claiming I'd only worked 40 hours a week when security logs proved I was in the house 60 plus. I showed the note to Sarah. Her eyes narrowed. Vanessa's college roommate, Olivia Chen, runs HR for a payroll firm that services half the hedge funds in Greenwich. If she falsified records, she's part of the network, I finished. We dug deeper, found that Olivia's firm, Elite Payroll Solutions, had processed payments for 4 of the 5 nannies in our class action suit. All classified incorrectly, all denied overtime, all fired within weeks of raising concerns. This wasn't just the Harringtons being greedy. It was a system designed to exploit caregivers, enabled by complicit HR professionals who turned a blind eye for profit. That weekend, I met Maria and the other nannies at a diner in Stamford. Over coffee, we shared stories. Maria, fired while pregnant, living in her sister's basement. Keisha denied sick leave when her son was hospitalized. Aisha, forced to sleep in a basement with no heat. "We stayed quiet because we needed the jobs," Maria said, tears in her eyes. "But you gave us courage, Claire." I reached across the table and squeezed her hand. "Now we fight together." On Monday, Sarah filed a motion to expand our lawsuit to include Elite Payroll Solutions and Olivia Chen for conspiracy to commit wage theft. That same afternoon, Vanessa tried to flee. Airport security flagged her at JFK. She'd booked a last-minute flight to St. Bart's under her maiden name. With her, $200,000 in cash and both children. CPS intercepted her before boarding. Took temporary custody of Lily and the baby. When I heard the news, I didn't celebrate. I drove straight to the park where Lily used to love feeding ducks. Sat on our bench and whispered, "Hold on, baby girl. Mama Claire's coming." Because this wasn't just about wages anymore. It was about making sure no caregiver and no child ever felt replaceable again. At the emergency custody hearing, Vanessa's lawyer dropped a bombshell. Ms. Bennett has no legal standing. She's not family. But the judge had one question for Vanessa. Why did you stop Lily's speech therapy the day Ms. Bennett was fired? The emergency custody hearing was held in a small courtroom in Stamford, the kind with scuffed linoleum floors and fluorescent lights that hummed like angry bees. I sat in the back row, hands folded tightly in my lap, wearing the same navy dress I'd worn to the baby shower, the one Vanessa had mocked as modest. Today it felt like armor. Vanessa arrived late, flanked by 2 lawyers in sharp suits. She wore designer black, sunglasses hiding her eyes despite the overcast sky. Daniel was absent, on medical leave, his firm claimed, though rumors swirled he'd checked into a luxury rehab in Malibu. Lily sat between a CPS caseworker and a court-appointed guardian, clutching a stuffed rabbit I'd given her for her 2nd birthday. She didn't look at me, didn't speak, just stared at the floor, thumb tucked in her mouth, a regression I hadn't seen since she was 18 months old. Vanessa's lead attorney, a man named Richard Cole, stood and addressed the judge with practiced ease. "Your Honor, this hearing concerns temporary custody of minor children. Ms. Bennett has no legal standing here. She was an employee, a contractor. Not family." The words stung, but I kept my face neutral, because I knew what was coming next. Judge Alvarez, a woman with silver hair and tired eyes, didn't look at me. She looked at Vanessa. "Ms. Harrington," she said quietly, Your daughter's speech therapist filed a report stating Lily's verbal skills regressed significantly after Ms. Bennett's departure. Records show you canceled all therapy sessions on April 13th, the day after Ms. Bennett was terminated. She paused. Why? Vanessa shifted in her seat. We reassessed our priorities. Therapy wasn't yielding results. That's not what the therapist says, the judge countered. She says Lily was making steady progress until April, and that she repeatedly asked for Mama Claire during sessions. She leaned forward slightly. Did you stop therapy to punish Ms. Bennett? Or to erase her from your daughter's life? Vanessa's composure cracked. I didn't. Because if you did, the judge continued, voice sharpening, that's not just neglect. It's emotional manipulation of a vulnerable child. Silence filled the room. Lily whimpered softly. Then, from the witness stand, the CPS caseworker spoke up. Your Honor, we've reviewed security footage from the Harrington residence. Ms. Bennett worked an average of 62 hours per week for 3 years. Never took a sick day. Was present for every doctor's appointment, school event, and bedtime. Meanwhile, Mrs. Harrington was documented leaving the house for spa days, lunches, and weekend trips, often without informing staff. Vanessa shot to her feet. That's private property. You had no right. We had every right, the judge cut in. When child welfare is at stake? She turned to the guardian ad litem. Recommendation? The guardian, a soft-spoken woman named Diane Moore, stood. Lily exhibits signs of attachment disruption. She's bonded deeply with Ms. Bennett. We recommend supervised visitation twice weekly with Ms. Bennett and mandatory resumption of speech therapy funded by the Harrington estate. Vanessa gasped. You can't give her access to my child. You already did, Judge Alvarez said evenly. For 3 years, you let her raise Lily. Now you'll let her help heal her. The ruling was final. Temporary custody remained with CPS, but I was granted supervised visits starting Saturday. As I left the courthouse, Vanessa cornered me near the parking lot, her lawyers trailing behind. Her sunglasses were off now. Her eyes were red-rimmed, furious. You think this is victory? She hissed. You're still nobody. A nanny. Replaceable. I met her gaze calmly. Then why are you so afraid of me seeing her? She flinched as if struck, turned on her heel, and walked away without another word. That Saturday, I met Lily at Oak Hollow Park, the place where we used to feed ducks every Sunday. A CPS supervisor sat on a nearby bench, clipboard in hand, as Lily and I sat on our favorite bench beneath the willow tree. At first, she wouldn't look at me, just clutched her rabbit, silent. So I didn't push, didn't say it's okay or I missed you. Instead, I pulled out a small notebook and began drawing, just like I used to. A duck, a flower, a sun. After 10 minutes, a tiny hand touched my arm. I looked down. Lily pointed to the duck, then to the pond. Dada? She whispered, the closest she could get to duck now. My heart shattered and healed all at once. Yes, baby, I said softly. Duck. She crawled into my lap. And for the first time in months, she let herself be held. Later, as I walked back to the bus stop, my phone buzzed. A text from Sarah Lynn. Olivia Chen just flipped. She's willing to testify that Vanessa instructed her to falsify timesheets and misclassify nannies as contractors. She has emails. Justice was moving. But holding Lily in my arms, that was healing. And healing, I realized, was the real revenge. Because they'd tried to erase me. But Lily remembered. And that was enough. 2 weeks later, the Harringtons settled the class action suit for $320,000. But the real victory came when Lily ran to me at the park and whispered, Mama Claire, don't go. True justice wasn't the money. It was being allowed to stay. The settlement came on a rainy Thursday in June. $320,000 to be divided among 5 nannies, plus $75,000 earmarked for Lily's ongoing speech therapy and emotional support services. Daniel Harrington resigned from his firm amid personal conduct reviews. Vanessa sold the Greenwich estate and moved to a quiet town in Maine. For the children's privacy, her lawyer claimed, though everyone knew it was exile. But none of that mattered as much as what happened the next Saturday. I arrived at Oak Hollow Park early, just as the sun broke through the clouds. Lily was already there, sitting on our bench with her CPS caseworker, clutching the stuffed rabbit. When she saw me, she didn't hesitate. She ran, not walked, not shuffled. Ran, tiny legs pumping, pigtails bouncing, and threw herself into my arms with a force that nearly knocked me over. Mama Claire, she cried, voice clearer than I'd heard in months. You came back. I held her tight, breathing in the scent of baby shampoo and grass, tears streaming down my face. I told you I would, baby girl. For 3 hours, we fed ducks, drew pictures in the dirt, and played hide and seek behind the willow tree. She talked, real sentences full of giggles and questions. The regression was lifting, not because of magic, but because someone finally listened. Because someone finally said, "You matter, your bond matters." Later, as we walked back to the bus stop, Lily slipped her small hand into mine. "Don't go," she whispered. "Stay." My heart ached. "I have to go home tonight, sweetheart, but I'll be back Saturday. And Wednesday. Always." She nodded solemnly. "Promise?" "I promise." That night, I sat at my kitchen table, the same one where I'd cried over unpaid bills just months ago, and opened my laptop. I created a new document titled The Village Fund Mission Statement. By dawn, I had a plan. Using my share of the settlement, $64,000, I founded the Village Fund, a nonprofit offering emergency grants, legal aid, and mental health support to exploited domestic workers across Connecticut. Maria Rodriguez became our outreach coordinator. Keisha handled financial literacy workshops. Even Aisha, once too shy to speak up, now led caregiver rights trainings at community centers. We launched on Labor Day with a simple website and a hotline. Within a week, we'd helped 12 women file wage claims. Within a month, we'd partnered with the state labor department to create a Know Your Rights toolkit for nannies, housekeepers, and elder caregivers. It wasn't just about money. It was about dignity. About ensuring no caregiver would ever be called replaceable again. One evening in October, I received a package with no return address. Inside, a framed photo of Lily, taken at the park, holding a drawing of the two of us under a rainbow. On the back, in crayon, "Mama Claire plus me and forever." Tucked beneath it was a note in neat cursive, Vanessa's handwriting, but softer, humbler. "Thank you for loving her when I didn't know how." I didn't respond. Didn't need to. Some apologies aren't meant to be answered. They're meant to be witnessed. The final piece fell into place that December. Judge Alvarez granted me permanent supervised visitation, every Wednesday and Saturday, no time limit as long as Lily wanted it. At the hearing, she looked at me and said, "You didn't fight for custody. You fought for connection. That's rare. And it's enough. Enough." That word used to feel like an insult. Be grateful for what you have. It's enough. But now it felt like grace. Enough love. Enough justice. Enough healing. On Christmas Eve, I took Lily to see the lights in downtown Stamford. As we stood beneath the glowing tree, she looked up at me, snow catching in her lashes. "Are you my real mama?" she asked quietly. I knelt so we were eye to eye. "I'm your chosen mama," I said. "And that means I'll always choose you." She hugged me then, tight and sure, and in that moment, I understood something Evelyn Carter once told me in another life. Family isn't blood. It's who shows up when it matters. The Harringtons had tried to erase me, to reduce me to a line item, a disposable expense. But they'd underestimated the power of showing up, day after day, night after night, even when it hurt. Revenge had brought me to the baby shower. But love? Love kept me coming back. And that was the greatest victory of all. Justice wasn't the settlement check or Vanessa's apology. It was Lily whispering Mama Claire in the dark, knowing I'd always answer. True revenge isn't destruction. It's building something so beautiful they can never take it away. After sharing everything, I still don't have a clear answer about what the right choice was. What I do know is that this experience changed the way I see trust and honesty. Maybe it'll make you reflect on a situation in your own life too.